Left of the box. From Press Progress, from October 1st, 2024. So again, when I say that it's not like these conspiracy theories were a long time ago, and, people have grown and developed since, and we'll look back at that and be like, oh yeah, it's kind of embarrassing I ever believed in that, ha ha ha. No, this is now, this is today. And they keep on coming up with new ones that just blow my mind. So, Danielle Smith, the Pentagon and NORAD respond to Danielle Smith. Nope, we're not spraying chemicals over Alberta. The Pentagon and NORAD are responding to a recent suggestion from the Premier of Alberta that the US Department of Defense could be responsible for alleged reports of chemtrails over Edmonton, Alberta. So she's pointing the finger, like it's not just chemtrails. It's the US Department of Defense, because they don't have anything better to do than to come up to Canada over Edmonton, Alberta and spray out chemtrails. How are these people in leadership positions? I don't... And yet the NDP wouldn't let me on board. It just... Wow. At a recent town hall, Alberta Premier Smith fielded questions from one attendee who wanted an explanation about the lines they've been looking at in the sky. Oh, look up. Is that a plane? Is that a bird? What is that? It's chemtrails. You see, there's lines in the sky. They usually come after you see a plane go by. It must be because they're trying to spray chemicals on us to control our minds. That's the only logical explanation for it. It's not like they haven't been showing up for as long as planes have been flying overhead. According to local journalist Katie Teeling, the attendee specifically asked Smith for an explanation about chemtrails over Edmonton. The next attendee asked about chemtrails over Edmonton, which Smith says she asked the people who control the airspace over Edmonton what the story is. She says that no one is allowed to enter that airspace and spray chemicals. The crowd boos in response. So she tried to say, oh no, it wasn't chemtrails, and the crowd was like, boo! So I guess she changed her mind. And there is an airport in Edmonton. Commercial aircraft frequently produce visible vapor trails in the sky when emissions from planes come into contact with humid air. One online conspiracy theorists have latched onto the phenomenon to suggest that they are spraying chemicals to control or reduce populations. Oh, it's not mind control, it's just depopulation conspiracy. Oh my God. How do you believe this? How do you believe this? As BBC News points out, other variations of the conspiracy claim that chemtrails are being used to spread COVID-19, distribute vaccines. So to make COVID happen and then to give out the vaccine for COVID, I guess, initiate, oh, there we go, mind control. Reduce the population, or vaguely promote a new world order. Video of Smith's response was later posted on social media by an account called Disordered YYC, showing Smith told the attendee she had looked into this matter previously and had been told the Pentagon could possibly be responsible. You Americans, you're trying to reduce our sparsely populated country, are you? We have one of the lowest population densities in the world. You're trying to make that worse? Or are you trying to give us vaccines because we don't have access to vaccines up here in Canada? Because that's how we have to get vaccines out in Canada. It's through chemtrails. It's not through a pharmacy. This will be the new healthcare of the future. Let's watch the video, shall we?
The best I have been able to do is talk to the woman who is responsible for controlling the airspace, and she says no one is allowed to go up and spray anything in the air. We have she's told me.
Yeah, and so they're booing. It's like, yeah, she told me that no one's allowed to spray chemicals there.
The other person told me that if anyone is doing it, it's the US Department of Defense.
But since you booed, but if there is anyone doing it, it's the US Department of Defense.
And, like I have some limitations in what I can do in my job. I don't know that I would have much power if that is the case, if the US Department of Defense is spraying us. So I will do what I can to investigate, but everywhere I have gone, I have found no evidence that there's any private sector company involved. My environment department's not involved. My airports tell me that they have a record of every single plane that goes up. So I'm kind of dead-ended here. If you have some special lead that you want to give me afterwards, please let me know and I'll track it down.
Just want to watch that part again.
The best I have been able to do is talk to the woman who is responsible for controlling the airspace, and she says no one is allowed to go up and spray anything in the air. We have she's told me. The other person told me that if anyone is doing it, it's the US Department of Defense. And
you Americans, US Department of Defense has nothing better to do than to come up into Edmonton, Alberta and spray chemtrails. Because, no private sector people are doing it. It's no one else. So it must be the US Department of Defense. Because she's asked around. In a statement, a Pentagon spokesperson said the US Department of Defense has no knowledge of any aircraft currently spraying chemicals over Alberta. How do you do that on a phone call? Just be like, just you see this and be like, so we have to put out a statement apparently because the premier of one of those things called the provinces up north is saying that we're spraying chemtrails over a city. Nope. Just we have to type out a statement. We have to type out these words to pacify Canadians, to let them know we're not spraying chemtrails over you guys. No, sir, a spokesperson for the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin told Press Progress. It's like, why do we have all these newspapers suddenly calling us from Canada, asking us about chemtrails? What? And they watch the video and they're like, damn it, they're on to us. No. The North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, a binational organization responsible for defending the airspace of Canada and the United States, also confirmed no aircraft under its command are spraying chemicals on Alberta. How is this real? How? How is this real? NORAD and the U.S. Northern Command are not conducting any flight activities in Canada that involve spraying of chemicals, a NORAD spokesperson told Press Progress. I can't imagine what that phone call would be like. Just like, are you being effing serious that I need to respond to this? Like, really? Really? Wow. Okay. A Premier Office spokesperson responded to the Pentagon and NORAD denials about their involvement in chemtrails by suggesting the Premier was passing along a second-hand information. You notice her use of the word I in that video? I talk to these people? That doesn't sound very second-handy to me. The Premier was simply sharing what she had heard from some folks over the summer on the issue. What, is she watching Alex Jones? Yeah, I saw on this right-wing media here that there's chemtrails up here in Canada, eh? Premier office spoke, like, just the idea that it is plausible, and it is plausible, that these conservative premiers would just offhand hear something and run with it without any thought, any investigation, and then treat it like fact, should be disqualifying for leadership positions. So the premier was simply sharing what she had heard from some folks over the summer on this issue. Premier's office spokesperson Savannah Johannesson told Press Progress she was not saying that she believed the U.S. government was using chemtrails in Alberta. She was just saying if anyone is using chemtrails in Alberta, it's the U.S. Department of Defense. Johannesson added Smith has heard concerns from many Albertans about this topic and asked the provincial government to investigate further, but found no evidence of chemtrails. How is this real? How? And this is from the breakdown, replying to this type of thing. It just doesn't end. Smith, I spoke to a woman who controls airspace in Alberta. Actual people who control the airspace. Nope, Alberta government has not reached out to inquire about chemtrails. So again, Danielle Smith lies. And they're quote tweeting this. Not sure who the woman was that Smith said controls the airspace over Alberta, but NAV Canada does not. But NAV Canada does, and they say they have not had contact from anyone in the Alberta government about chemtrails. Danielle Smith lies.